This world, this realm that we live in is beautiful, spectacular in many ways. The landscape, the animals, the people. I mean, I love animals, but I think the true beauty in this world lies in the interactions, the relationships that we can form with other human souls. So we have beauty, we have this ability to find what we might call soul connection with other beings, with other eternal expressions of consciousness. But at the same time, it's so dark. We live in a world which has an almost incomprehensible level of darkness hiding under the surface. It's almost like one of the central challenges of being in this realm is knowing that if we do scratch the surface, we don't know what's there. We don't know what we're going to uncover. So how do we navigate that challenge? How do we do that in a higher-minded, in a dignified, in a approach that is still looking to learn, looking to improve, looking to expand its sense of self? It's not an easy archetypal challenge. But that's the challenge we find with a combination of Jupiter and Pluto. And that is the dynamic that defines June. And that's why we are up here. This lovely view, this lovely, slightly darkened, slightly ominous, still inescapably beautiful view. So let's get down to business. Let's do the first part of June, the basics. So right now we have Venus quite close to the Sun. It's going to go basically cazimi, so the exact conjunction will be on the 6th of June. And that's an interesting day because it's also the day of the new moon. So it's fun, always fun, when we have a new moon exactly conjunct a planet, and this time it is Venus. What's the new moon? New beginnings. Start of the lunar cycle. We sort of can most easily understand it by this idea of planting seeds. So we set things in motion in the new moon, and hopefully they come to fruition sometime after the full moon. So this lunar cycle will be defined by Venus. We're defined by the Venusian principles of love, of beauty. Oh, that's good. Okay, so we've got beauty. Romance. Are these romantic new beginnings that we are collectively about to go through? Keep that in mind, particularly around the 6th. Not just romantic, but also just relationships in general. Venus wants any chance to experience the loveliness, the interpersonal dimension of this world. It is the rule of Libra, after all. So even if it's not romantic or sexual, Venus will still revel in that connection, in that relationship, in that forming of an interpersonal soul relationship. So that's a powerful new moon. Let's keep that in mind, shall we? I think so. Is there a catch? There's usually a catch. What's the catch this time? Hello, Saturn. Fucking asshole you are. Square this Venusian, this lovely Venusian new moon. can't we have nice things, Saturn? That's okay. So we know there's going to be a bit of a testing aspect to these romantic new beginnings. So I don't think it's going to come easy. Saturn, if you don't want when you're scared by Saturn, just think discipline. Discipline, mastery, that's what it's there for. He, she. Apparently Saturn can swing both ways. Well, the ancient astrologers actually believe that he was a she, which is interesting. So that's that. We have this theme, this darkly dignified, darkly Jupiterian theme going on in the background this whole time, across the whole start of June. In fact, it's probably now. Let's call it right now. We're moving into this darkly Jupiterian. Let's call it the whole of June. As Jupiter will move into a trine as soon as it enters tropical Gemini. It will come into a tropical sign trine with Pluto. Jupiter and Pluto. So we just talked about this. Jupiter wants to expand, wants to raise up, wants to order things in a way which is most conducive to its dignity, to its ability to grow, to give fruit, to prosper, to be abundant. Remember, Jupiter and Saturn are on a polarity, so they have many similarities. Saturn more likes to get things done by saying no, or by limiting, or by making sure things are done correctly. Whereas Jupiter's still about order and structure. Just feels a bit nicer. Things happen a bit more quickly, a bit more easier with Jupiter. We still have that sense of things being structured in the right way, in a coherent way. But Pluto is the darkness, it's the depths, it's the underworld. So what we're doing is bringing this sense of coherency, dignity, expansion, this search for meaning, which I think is ultimately what Jupiter wants, is to find the meaning of something, to the archetype of Pluto. So expanding the depths, expanding the underworld, finding wealth in the underworld, finding wealth in the darkness. Literal wealth. This is a perfect time to be creating wealth, to be setting yourself up financially, because remember, Venus is also finances, in what might be considered a dark way. Unearthing hidden wealth. Keep that in mind, maybe. I get the sense it's going to be this unearthing of things that we know are true, are right, even moral and ethical. So we're going to see these things come into the world, and we're going to know that they are Jupiterian, that they are needed and necessary and are conducive to our movement forward. At the same time, they're going to be incredibly confronting, intense, potentially very, this idea of, so we think of like Pluto as Hades, the underworld, literally like the domain of hell. And Jupiter, we get this sort of religious, Jupiter does bring this spiritual, religious, because it's about philosophy, morals, ethics. So quite literally, Jupiter, Pluto is hell, is the exposure or the exploration of what we call religious hell, which sounds very intense. Yes. But again, what if hell is this realm? Not in the sense that there's nothing redeemable or something, but what if we have these ideas in our head about going to hell, going to a different place called hell, when maybe the closest to this hellish experience is already here. And the purpose of Jupiter and Pluto is for us to embrace, to face, embrace, accept, and then essentially, what's the word? I've used dignify a lot. Redeem. What if that's the word? What if Jupiter-Pluto is redeeming that darkness, elevating it up, giving it coherence, bringing meaning to what we demonize and cast aside, by facing up to hell here, right now. Why is there a need? What would be the purpose of going to a hell if it was to exist after this? If we've already dealt with that, if we've already faced it down here, accepted that this is the nature of the realm that we occupy, perhaps even the nature of humanity. Who knows? Maybe we're just here to take on the qualities of this realm, to experience it, to find that meaning, to find that Jupiterian meaning, and let it go, and then let it go and pass on to our next destination. We have one little crunch point for the month, for the start of June. This might be the hellish moment. This might be when we really see things revealed for all to see. Not for all to see, for those who have the eyes to see. After the new moon, the moon will move on. Luna will do its thing, and as Luna does, she moves with often, if not always, impeccable purpose. She knows where to be. On the 9th of June, she will move into a T-square with Mars and Pluto. So this whole time we've been talking, Mars is also slowly moving on, gradually moving into this 90-degree square arrangement with Pluto, as Pluto is still trining Jupiter. So we have this Jupiter, Mars, Pluto dynamic going on, lurking underneath everything. So Jupiter, again, Jupiter, Mars is sort of this idea of like holy wars, fighting for our beliefs, fighting for something higher than us. And Pluto is just working on both of them, you know, one trine, one square. So just a sort of balanced source of support and agitation going on. And then it all sort of just happens on the 9th as the moon moves into this T-square with Mars and Pluto. At the same time forms what's called a cradle arrangement. So we'll sextile Jupiter, which is sextiling Neptune, and Neptune is sextiling Pluto. So we have this sort of harmonious arrangement between the moon, Jupiter, Neptune and Pluto. At the same time this T-square going on, while also we still have this square between Venus, Sun and Saturn. Fucking hell, have a look at it. What an extraordinary piece of celestial geometry. So that's the 9th. I'm not going to give you any predictions. I'm not going to say something resembling hell might come down to this realm and openly manifest itself, reveal itself to us. But it might. If there was an arrangement, if there was a celestial configuration which could do that, I'd say this isn't far off. Just in Mars-Pluto itself, one of the most explosive, volatile, dynamic in the sense of literally dynamite going off. That's what we can expect. So the last conjunction we had was on Valentine's Day, I think, and probably when we had would have been the day when there was that shooting at the Super Bowl celebration. But then before that, the last square, so the last square of Mars-Pluto was October 7, obviously, when whatever happened on October 7 happened, and whatever's happened because of that has then happened. So no predictions, just keep that in mind, keep that date in mind. A few big dates in June. But don't forget the overall theme. Don't forget about this, the potential, the grand potential of this Jupiter-Pluto moment to find meaning where others might seek. To find meaning where others might seek despair, or even nihilism, or even where they lose the ability to find any sense or coherence in this world. Jupiter-Pluto says no, the meaning is always there. And in fact, the meaning can become even more potent, even more clear, even more revelatory when it comes from the Plutonic underworld. Like, subscribe, leave a comment please guys, please get around the channel, got lots of fun stuff happening. Leave comments. We have a new symbol, we have a new emoji symbol for the channel, so please use that. Please engage in any way that you see. Please check out the Patreon and the options we have there. Enjoy your June.